May I get a motion to come up? We have a second by Director Wallace to come out of closed session. Can I get a roll call vote? Yes. Vice President Byron Glenn? Yes. Director Ben Stewart? Yes. Director Alfred Wallace? Yes. Director Greg Wood? Yes. Well, the record showed up the 5-0 vote to come out of closed session at 6:01 p.m. There was no reportable action taken in the closed session. We'll continue into the general session. It is 6:02 p.m. today, Wednesday, August the 28th, 2022. And this is the general session of Rules for Community Services meeting. At this time, for public comments, at this time, any person may address the board on any subject of the jurisdiction which is not on the agenda. However, any non-agenda matter will be referred to staff or report in on action at a subsequent board meeting, and no action can be taken on any such item discussed unless the action has been authorized under Section 54954.2 of the Government Code. Any person may also address the board on any agenda matter at the time the matter is discussed by the board's consideration and action. Speakers are requested to limit their comments to 5 minutes. It's now 6:02 p.m. We open the floor for public comments. Hearing no public comments, we close public comments. We continue down with voluntary public roll call via teleconference. Any member of the public on teleconference wishes to identify themselves as present in this meeting may do so for the minutes of the records. It's now 6:03 and we open up the voluntary public roll call.
Good evening, President Rick and members of the board. This is John Joyce reporting for the Roseman News.
Good evening, John. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
I am wonderful. Thank you. I'm doing well. John?
Good evening.
Okay. We're now going to close the voluntary public comment. And we will look at our consent calendar, and we have the check vouchers, and we have the minutes. So I'm going to combine CC1, CC number 2, CC number 3, and CC number 4 as the first item of the consent calendar we're going to vote on. And if there's any objection by the board members. Hearing none, can I get a motion by Director for CC1 through CC4? So we can vote on it. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved, Byron.
We have a motion by Vice President Glenn. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second by Director Wallace. For CC1, CC2, CC3, and CC number 4 on the consent calendar. Steve, can I get a roll call vote, please?
President Rick Wood?
Yes.
Vice President Byron Glennon? Yes. Director Ben Stewart?
Yes.
Director Alfred Wallace? Yes. Director Greg Wood? Yes. 5-0.
And that the record shows that the items on the consent calendar, CC1 to CC4, were 4-0 votes. Correction, a 5-0 vote. And let's move down to the consent calendar minutes. We got M1, let's approve the September 14th, 2022 regular board meetings. M2 is to approve the September 15th special board meetings. M3 is to approve the September 15th engineering committee meeting minutes. M4 to approve the September 15th, 2022 sewer committee meeting minutes. Okay, try that one fast, people. M5 to approve the September 16th government relations committee meeting minutes. So if there's no objection from any of the directors, I'd like to have all those as one motion. Can I get a motion for M1, M2, M3, M4, and M5? Those are meetings. Those are minutes of the various committee meetings and regular board meetings.
So moved, Byron.
I have a motion by Vice President Glenn. May I get a second?
Second, Director Wood.
I have a second by Director Wood. May I get a roll call vote, please?
President Rick Wood?
Yes.
Vice President Byron Glennon? Yes. Director Ben Stewart?
Yes.
Director Alfred Wallace? Yes. Director Greg Wood? Yes. 5-0.
Well, the record showed that for M1, M2, M3, M4, and M5, which is the regular and special board meetings, there was a 5-0 vote. Down to new business. We got NB number 1. That's to authorize staff to move forward and contract with Fisher Compliance LLC to prepare a comprehensive sewer management plan known as an SSMP at the cost of $48,450. This action item is pending report and recommendation by the Engineering Committee and Sewer Committee. So, Steve, who's going to report on this before we vote, you or the committee?
I will report and then go to the committee members for their recommendations from their committees.
Okay, you have the floor, Steve.
As you know, I briefed the board on this project. It is the sewer system management plan services, and that's the scope of work. The objectives of the consultant will be to complete the sewer system management plan, the SSMP, the services for the Roseman Community Service District that meets and exceeds compliance requirements specified under Provision D13X of the State Water Board Sanitary Sewer Systems Waste Discharge Requirements. So, in short, they are going to do the sewer system management plan. They will audit what we're doing today. They will recommend what they see and recommend corrections of any deficiencies. They will do training on how to properly manage the system. And in their estimated cost, they have 5 tasks, and each one of them, task 1 is $3,800, task 2 is $3,800, task 3 is $7,600, and task 4 is $6,650, and task 5 is $3,800. So looking at what they are going to do and the cost of doing this, if you'll excuse me for just a second, I didn't tally these for totals, but we'll hear. Task 1 through 5 totals $25,650, but there's optional tasks 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, which takes the district to another level and completes an entire compliance audit and places the district in a position that we can defend anything that will occur in our sewer system because we are managing it right and we're reporting any issues that occur along the way. And for that, if you'll bear with me a second. It'll be for optional task 6 through 10 is stand by. Is an additional $22,800 for a total of $48,450 Um, we met in the various committees to discuss the project and all of the tasks, the gap analysis in task 1 through 5, and then the optional tasks of the SSMP upgrades, the field form upgrades, the documentation and training upgrades, the OERP training and upgrades, and the SSMP update and upgrades in total. So,
Thank you.
a total package of $48,450. And the reason I'm bringing this forward at this point in this manner is this would be an engagement that would be out of the budget. It was not anticipated, but it is drastically needed for the district to remain in compliance. So with that, I will turn it over to Greg Wood to make a report from Engineering Committee.
Okay, thank you. Basically, we met on this, and this is an outside independent audit. It's similar to bringing in an outside accounting firm to audit our books and to look everything over to make sure everything is in place and everything is in order. And this is the same type of thing to be done on this. And a lot of people think, the sewer system, it's out of sight, out of mind. But it's a vital infrastructure and vital utility for the community. And it is heavily regulated, and it is all kinds of agencies from county to state agencies and other jurisdictions involved with the sewer, and also with the potential for an SSO, which is a sewer system overflow, and then of course your SSMP, which is your sewer system management plan. The sewer system management plan is a document that essentially says how you're going to maintain the system, how you're going to respond to an emergency, how you're going to keep records, how you map your system, how you count your manholes, how you do your reporting. And it just goes on and on and on, where your average SSMP can be anywhere from 120 or 30 pages long to I've seen some of them as much as 1,800 pages, depending upon how big your system is. There's things brought into consideration as far as when to retire some of your lines and install a new relief line next to it because it's gotten to capacity. You got flow rate studies. All of these things in there that even though our agency has been doing this for years and we've been maintaining a system for years, this is a way to bring in outside eyes to look at our system and how we're doing it, and to say, hey, you know what? You're doing great here, but maybe you can do a little better here or a little better there. And that's what we want to see, because what's important to us is that we maintain our sewer system the best way that we possibly can. And so like I said, the analogy of bringing in an outside accounting firm to look at your finances to make sure you're doing everything right, and if you're making mistakes, they'll find it and get you to correct them. And this is the same thing here, is that, bring in an outside pair of eyes to look at how we're doing it, and if we're doing great, they'll tell us you're doing great. But if they find areas that we can do better, then that's what we want. We want, to be able to do what we're doing better, and to make sure that our system is run to the utmost efficiency. And it also, by doing it that way, and with efficiency and the right maintenance and everything else, that we can keep the sewer costs down as well. and future rate increases and things like that may not take place if we take action today. So it is the recommendation of the engineering committee that we approve the contract with all of the optional tasks on this to get us the whole 9 yards of treatment on this for $48,450. And with that, I'll turn it over to Byron if he's got any comments on this.
This, to me, is far more important than just how we're running the sewer system and the water reclamation plant. If it's not successful, we're in big trouble for our water, because we're going to claim about 1,000 acre-feet of pumping ability because of the success of this water reclamation plant. So it's got to be successful, or we'll have to go looking for another 1,000 acre-feet of water, and we don't want to do that. So to me, it is more than just it's operating, although that's very important, it's operating properly, that the water master could throw something into the monkey wrench. You know, if something came up and the water master said, "Well, you don't get the credit now," we're in trouble if that happens.
Right. Okay, I'd turn it over to Director Stewart for a sewer committee recommendation.
Evening. Greg hit a lot of points that the sewer committee agreed upon. I said in our committee meeting that this was answers to the test. Jim Fisher was the lead auditor, investigator, what do you want to call it, guy that went out and did these inspections, did these audits at municipalities for over 15 plus years. This is the guy that would go in and do it. And now he's running his own compliance. He's giving you the answers to the test. He's coming in and telling you they are going to look for this. And he doesn't mock one. Well, he'll come in and ask questions. He'll quiz the staff. He'll act like this is an actual audit. And it, in my mind, there's no better way to spend the money than to be completely prepared. And I'm not saying where there's no repercussions, but, we can learn from if there's a mistake we're doing or if we're doing it right, and he might have some insight on how we can even do it better. So I know it's the recommendation of the sewer committee that this goes forward for the full amount.
Thank you. And I would just like to sum up and ask the question of both committees, of Director Stewart and Director Wood. If we're found out of compliance in certain areas, is there any liability or fines we could be fined?
Oh, absolutely. The fines can be in the millions. And, the thing that you got to understand is that, I haven't been involved in sewer planning, so to speak, since I retired, but I still remember everything that was, and I am involved with the agency here. But if you have an SSO, first thing you have to do...
What an SSO stands for.
SSO is a sewer system overflow. In other words, the water is coming up out of the manhole and running down the street. Once, you think that you can go out there and get the SSO stopped, get everything returned back to normal, that's just the beginning. You have to notify the health department. You have to notify the state Department of Water Resources. If the water goes into the desert, you got to notify the Department of Fish and Game. And because it could have gone into receiving waters, a dry creek bed is considered receiving waters. There's all kinds of things that take place, and then they launch an audit from the state. They'll come to your agency, and they'll want to see all you've done. They'll want to see your records going back 20 years on that particular line. They're going to want to see how you report. They're going to want to see all kinds of things to make sure that, A, was this something that happened just because it happened, or did it happen because of a lack of maintenance and things of this area? So these are the things that, and I read the questionnaire from the state, and I tell you, I dealt with sewers for 37 years, and it kind of blew me away with the audit questions that they were asking. I mean, my hands would be shaking trying to fill that out because it's really, really complex. But like Ben said, this is the time to find out if you've got any shortcomings so that if something does happen in the future, that your agency is protected, you've corrected any potential mistakes or liabilities, so this agency doesn't get sued. Because any agency can have an SSO, but when the state comes in and they look at your SSNP and say, yeah, you've got a very detailed SSNP, they look at all your training records, they look at all your procedures for cleaning, they look at all your procedures for reporting, and all your maintenance back records and everything else. They look at all this stuff, and then they come back and says, well, you know what, you guys did everything you could do to prevent this from happening, and then they just chalk it up, hey, it just happened. But that way, your agency doesn't get dinged for millions of dollars. Ben's got a story of an agency, I guess they were fined $6.5 million. Wow. Because there was a sewer line that they knew was faulty, and they took no steps to correct it. And then they had a problem with it that caused an overflow, and the state came down on them big time. So this is a thing where we look at this as a golden opportunity because there's no such thing as having too much training. An agency that spends the time to train and prepare is an agency that will be there to answer an emergency when it happens. And that's all I've got to say about that. And I know Ben's got some stuff to add to that as well.
Thanks, Greg. Exactly. I don't think that we would be getting fined from his findings, of course, but yes, we could definitely be fined for negligence or anything. I do believe if there was anything that we didn't know we were doing or we should have been doing, this would be a great opportunity with his knowledge to come in and give us some pointers. And it also looks really good because, like Greg said, if we do have an accident and they come in and they audit us and they look at it, and it even shows that we've hired this outside consultant to vet ourselves, that's a feather in our cap. That's a star next to our name, saying that we're not being complacent, that we are going above and beyond and trying to do the best. Mistakes do happen, but this kind of stuff, taking the time and the effort to improve ourselves definitely goes a long way.
Thank you. I'll add to the staff's recommendation, which is to move forward with all tasks at a total of $48,450, and just say that in everything we do here at the district, we need to prevent undue expenditures to fines and the like, because that does the ratepayers no good whatsoever. And to spend this small amount of money to prevent a large potential fine in any area, not saying that we'll have them, but to prevent that from happening is insurance for the ratepayers. So my recommendation is to ask the board to approve staff's recommendation.
This is Director Webb. The only comment I'd like to make about that is that Director Stewart and Director Wood, they know that I have a lot of respect for them and that the capacity for what they do. And the fact that I think Director Stewart made the comment, the answers to the test. That's priceless. And I know that Director Wood, this has been something that he's been talking about for many years to get this done. I think you guys explained the need for why, the certainties of it, and I appreciate you guys for being diligent about it, and I appreciate the presentation because I think the other part we got to be mindful of, not all of us, even though we're directors, understands all the dynamics of what goes on within our district. I think you guys kind of summed it up pretty much. So I appreciate the presentation from all three of you guys on that there. So if any other director does not have any questions on this, can we get a motion so we can accept this and approve it? And let's get a roll call vote for it.
So move, Byron.
We have a motion by Vice President Glennon. Can I get a second?
Second, Director Wood.
A second by Director Wood. Can I get a roll call vote, Chief?
President Rick Webb,
Yes.
Vice President Byron Glennon,
Yes.
Director Ben Stewart,
Yes.
Director Alfred Wallace,
Yes.
Director Greg Wood.
Yes.
5-0.
The record shows there was a 5-0 vote for the approval for the staff to move forward with the Fishery Compliance LLC to prepare the sewer study report for us. Let's move down to presentations. It's a water reclamation plan update by Ryan Becker. Ryan, are you on, sir?
Sean, are you on?
Yes, I am.
If not, I will give an update. We've been meeting daily in regard to the startup of the plant, which is rolling along very well. And we've gotten to a point where we're reducing our meetings to twice a week instead of daily. And most of the issues that we've encountered, we've determined fixes for those, and the fixes are adjustment on air, adjustment on mixing, wasting this but wasting more, etc. And it's just establishing the biological community, and it's working rather well. So we're just hopeful that we're right at the level that we need to be in order to start denitrifying. So we're right there. And everybody's working hard on it. Ian, are you on? Everybody's working hard to get their piece of the pie corrected. So it's moving along very well. I got to hand it to Ryan and to Sean and to Connor that are out there daily and working at the plant. It's like a team that, although two of them are new to our district, they're not new to the situation, and they've jumped right in, and they're doing a great job for Ryan. Ryan's doing a great job for the district.
Well, that's good to hear, Steve. Hey, Steve, that's good to hear. And you know, I think the other thing that we can't go unnoticed, Steve, and you said it repeatedly now, everyone's jumping on board to make sure this gets done.
Right.
Everyone's on board.
Well, that is great news, Steve, is with the way the plant's coming, and I know exactly what you're talking about when it's just basically having to tweak everything a little to the left, a little to the right until you get it mixed just right, and then the real fun starts, keeping that happy balance 24/7.
Yep.
And but it sounds like they're doing a great job out there, and it'd be great to hear the report when we start denitrifying and percolating water.
Hey, Steve, you know something that's kind of important? A few months back, we were kind of all like, put your gloves on, let's start fighting. And now we've smoothed that out in a smooth sailing. So thank you, and thank your staff, and thank Kennedy Jinks for seeing that teamwork does get things done. I appreciate the effort by all you guys, Steve.
I've got to hand it to them. They're trying their best to address the situations that arise. So, like you said, we're past the hump and moving very well.
That's outstanding.
That I would like to ask Steve is because, you know, once the plant is up and running, it is such a delicate balance. I would like to at least for you to consider looking into getting a operational computer that our senior wastewater operator can work from home, because if he can make the adjustments there rather than having to come in, that could make a difference between the plant getting out of whack and by the time he gets in there to adjust things out. I know with a plant like this, probably 90% of it can be handled by just making an adjustment in the computer. And unfortunately, with the plant with a delicate process like this, the time that if he could make the adjustment from his home at 2 o'clock in the morning, rather than having to get dressed, drive all the way in there, and then he's got to make, instead of making 1 or 2 adjustments, now he's got to make half a dozen or a dozen. And so I know it's not cheap, but I would like to at least explore what the cost would be, and then bring it back to the board to where we can just, make it easier so we don't have it upset.
It is absolutely vital to be able to have that ability. And we have discussed it, and Dan has made that conversion to make it possible for him to, he can do SCADA and various things from home. But he has some things that he couldn't do based on the way that our entire network is set up, because it's protected. So Dan has done that and completed that. So we're well on our way to being able to do that for him. He even mentioned it, that it would be a lot easier for him to make those tweak adjustments at the right time than to have to jump in his car, drive out here, and then try to do it.
Yeah.
So you're right on point. We appreciate it, and we're beginning to go down that road.
Perfect. Thank you.
Hey, guys, I think the other thing we need to look at and be mindful of is that if you look at the plant, and you look at what we're doing, even though we may be a small district, guys, I think a lot of the things we're doing is it competes with the big guys across the board. Our plant out there, once that's online, state of the art, the things we're doing ahead of the curve, not behind the curve. And I don't think we can take a back seat to nobody with our capabilities. So I'm awful proud of, Steve, the effort you put in getting the personnel in place and the efforts they put in there. I remember a few weeks ago, the presentation that Ryan gave. Not only was it a good presentation, it was a passion that he has for what he does to make the presentation work. So I just really appreciate that for the folks. So, okay. So, with that there, let's go down to Director's comments. And Director Glennon, we're going to start with you.
I don't have anything tonight. Sorry.
Okay. Homework assignment. Get something for us, Director Glennon. And Director Wallace.
Yeah, you know what, Steve, I've talked to you about this before, but I've been having people I've talked to Greg about it. I've had people come to me in high school about the water situation in our state.
Right.
And they're kind of blaming the district for that. I don't know if you know that or not.
Yes, I do, and it's come up a couple times. I've even called the superintendent to explain. One of the things is we have to go by the terms of the state in order to provide them water, because they are in a consolidation of 7 or 8 other small districts in the area that we're willing to consolidate. But the state's paying for all of this to happen, the connection fees, everything. If I turn on the water over there before, then the school district will end up having to pay all their fees and everything else themselves, and the state will not pay for them. We are not holding that back, because we don't have to do anything but turn on a valve. So anytime that the district wants that water, we can provide it to them, but they'll be booted out of the program and not receive a dime from the state.
So they're waiting for the state to pay for it.
Well, we are.
You are.
Yes,
Steve.
and I asked them in my meeting on Monday, I asked them, and and this was of the Division of Drinking Water for the Mashpee region, which is Jesse Valley, as well as the financial folks. Can I just turn on the valve and go ahead and do the high school? Because the last time you talked to me, I told you that we had to hold off because of this payment. And they said, no, we have to do it as a group. They've split this up into two groups now, and Roseman is in the quickest group that will be able to go. So we're almost there, but not quite.
Golly told me they don't use that well, but the tank there, they use the one across the street over there on 28. Do they both have arsenic in them?
Yes.
They do?
Well, the arsenic that the well has is not always in violation. It's spotty. It comes and it goes. So they use a lot of it for irrigation.
Right.
Hey, Steve, I have a question for you in regards to this. So they're saying that the school district called you in the morning and said, just make it happen. They could get the water, but they would have to come out of pocket themselves for all the expenses.
That's correct.
And wait.
District.
Okay. But, so here's the question. Let me ask, I know it's going to be no, but so could it be that, are you doing an agreement with them? Is this the state saying we can't do, this is what the state says we can't do, correct? The state is saying, no, we can't do this?
That is correct.
Okay, enough said. We don't even need to go any further. Okay, fair enough. Okay, Director Stewart, what do you have for us, sir?
I don't have anything tonight, guys.
Director Wood.
Just have a comment on the AVAC meeting last night. The report on the water and water availability from the state, every time that AVAC gives a report, it gets bleaker and bleaker and bleaker. And last night from the State Department of Water Resources, that they were talking about water reliability, and that in 2003, I don't have my notes in front of me, but I'm just going to go off the top of my head. I may be off on this number, but it was up around 77-80% reliability in 2003, and right now in 2022 we're at about 54 to 56% reliability, and they're projecting by 2040 it's going to be down around 40% reliability. And AVAC was talking about they're glad that they got their water bank going, and I'm glad they did too. But this agency here built the first water bank in the Antelope Valley. And we also went out and negotiated water rights to where this community, no matter how dire things get with the state and the ability to deliver water to AVAC, we're in good shape. We have water to meet our community's needs, not just today, not just tomorrow, but decades into the future. And so this community can rest easy every night knowing that they will always have water coming out of their faucets because of the actions that this agency took to make sure that adjudication, droughts, water availability through AVAC and everything else would not affect our water supply. And so I just wanted to put that out there that this agency has a lot to be proud of in making sure that our community is taken care of.
Steve, is that going to hurt us if high school hooks to us?
What's that?
Will it hurt us if the high school hooks to us?
No, it's all taken care of. All the water that they were allocated through the adjudication. Basically, what we're doing is taking the water that they need there,
and we'll give more allocation
and give them clean water, and in exchange for that.
Roseman Elementary is on the community service district, aren't they?
I think they are, yeah.
Yes.
West Park is too.
John, are you on?
You're on.
I think John said they're on.
Yeah.
West Park is too, right?
Who?
West Park.
West Park is,
How about Tropical?
I think they are.
I kind of wanted to add to what Greg said. I was in on the ABAC meeting too, and it just galls me. I've said it before when it's considered their bank and Metropolitan's putting the whole bill. But we pump water from wells, and we're going to get credit, which we can pump water for 1,000 acre feet from the water reclamation plant, and we purchase rights into the future to pump water. And because, and not imported from anywhere else, but pump it from our water aquifer. And since we're in an adjudicated basin and the ramp down is winding up,
This is the last year.
the water level in the valley is not decreasing, it is increasing, which guarantees us a more future for pumping water. So as long as the adjudication is in place, restrictions are in place, we've found a way around the restrictions on pumping water to the point where we can pump what we need into the foreseeable future. We do not have to worry about imported water coming from Northern California through ABAC.
Unless our aquifer dries up.
Yeah, but our aquifer is becoming more healthy the last 5 years. Instead of drying up, it's improving.
Well, here's the thing I will say about that. When I first became the director, we didn't really talk about the concerns of water. We talked about the ramp down. And I'm kind of glad that I have the history of Greg Woods and Byron Glennon there. And then I have the diligence of Steve. Because I think, between the history, Steve and you going out there, I remember when all those people lined up in the boardroom about the Calandry deal, like we were bad kids on the block. And all you're trying to do is secure water for our community. And not only have we secured the water, but we have a state-of-the-art treatment plant. And we have water into the future. So again, like I said earlier, that's not done by mistake. That's done by design. You out there for Steve, John, and all you folks, I sincerely thank you. I'm speaking as a resident of Roseman. Because when you hear people around you in other communities talk about the dire straits of not having any water, this doesn't mean we just go out here and haphazardly use it. But it's kind of nice to know that you can flush it and it'll go away. You can turn your faucet on and it'll come out. So thank you guys very much for that. So with that, let's move on to the GM's report. Steve, you have the floor.
The California Special Districts Association has requested that Roseman participate in a video tour. They have spotlighted our project at the water reclamation plant. I did a speaking engagement at the annual conference this past August, and I just got a note back from them that it was well received and superb comments came back from that presentation. And this kind of highlighted what we were doing. And as Kyle Packham, who is the senior ledge advocate for CSDA, said that the reason for Roseman being chosen was because although we're a small district, we act like a large district because we get it. We get it because what we're doing with water reclamation and what is occurring with the drought not only has Roseman conserved to tremendous that we have gone above and beyond and produced a project at the water reclamation plant that will heal the basin. Not to mention the cost savings that represents in the long run. Now, we have an adjudicated basin. The court decided how much we could pump. Everybody else in the Central Valley and the state have to worry about Sigma, which does the same thing. They have to manage their basins now, and we basically have been forced to do that. It took them, 15 years, Greg, to figure it out, but they did, and we're under that obligation. But Roseman has stepped up and basically found ways not only to conserve locally, domestically through our residents, but also on a state level in regard to the Lahontan Regional Water Quality Control Board on how we could produce a good effluent that can be recharged into the basin. So, having said that, the video tour will occur on the 11th of October. It'll be here at the district and at the water reclamation plant.
The 11th?
The 11th of October.
Oh, I wrote down the 10th.
It probably was stated at the 10th first.
Oh,
but they will edit it and it will be presented in December. Now, the video audience is going to be the entire legislature, the entire state organizations of water related and wastewater related, and our story will once again be told. And with Greg starting, we have presented 1, 2, 3, and now 4, and the video will be 5 on our project alone. 5 different presentations.
I think it's important on that day, the October the 11th, when they're here and at the water treatment plant, that Rick Webb's face be in there somewhere in the presentation. So, Rick, you got to show up and let them take a picture of you.
No, and that's all I have to report.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. As the president of the board, I'm making a direct order. All the board members be there for our photo op. And we're going to put Byron up front.
It's a very old video tour. They will be doing it here, Zealand, and LA Met.
What time?
They'll be here about 10 o'clock.
I would definitely like to be here.
Yeah. I think as many directors as possible should be here. Just to see it. They don't have to be done to be in it. But
yeah. Hey, Steve, can we be there? That 11th, that's a firm date, correct, the 11th?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I think that's important. I think that's very important.
You know, Steve and I and staff and have been working on getting our facility seen and heard. And this is a great opportunity because being presented in front of the state legislature, it is no secret that Governor Newsom has made it a top priority to embrace the use of recycled water. We know, and the state is finally starting to recognize the fact that recycled water is vital to the future of California's water supply. You know, for decades, most of the water would be cleaned up in a treatment plant, pumped into a riverbed, and let it flow out to the ocean. and just go away. And the fact is that, I think the drought has taught the state a lot that if you got water and you can clean it up to drinking water standards and reuse it and keep it here instead of letting it just flow down to the ocean and go away and be made into clouds, it's going to dump rain, somewhere else 1,000 miles away. It's a great opportunity, but our treatment plant, what makes it so unique is that the tertiary treatment process has been around forever. They have been, LA County built their tertiary treatment plant at Whittier Narrows back in the 60s. And so it's been around, it's been used by large municipalities and everything else, but our treatment plant actually allows you to bring the sewage into the plant, clean it up to a denitrified secondary level, and then percolate it, let Mother Nature do the rest of the work as it's percolating through the soils, and then it replenishes the aquifer right where the community's at. And now agencies such as ours can be partners in the recycled water business without having to invest millions in infrastructure to deliver tertiary water to parks and golf courses and things of that nature. So it's a game changer, and I'm glad that we've had the opportunity, and I'm very grateful to CSDA for highlighting our plant to get it in front of the state and say, hey, you know what? This is something that you can promote to where you can get agencies all up and down the state of California that haven't been able to afford to get into the recycled water game. They can now do it, and I'm excited about it. I think it's great.
Thank you. Hey, Steve. Steve, there was a documentary on Fox News, and it touches bases on what Greg was talking about, the reclaimed water being a better feel for it. Now, it's called Hell, No Water, a Fox 11 News documentary. See if you can find it or whatever, and I think directors, you guys can find it. I think it'll be something just kind of good. It kind of touch bases on the drought, the fires, and all of this stuff is kind of in around. But one of the big parts of it, it talked about recycled water and how that is going to become the foundation for everything we do now, because instead of letting it go to the ocean, trapping it, letting it percolate down and start all over again. So it's called Hell, No Water. And it's from it's a Fox News documentary that was on Channel 11. And if we could find it, Steve, I think it'd be something good that we could show to all the other directors. And I think maybe perhaps as we come out of this COVID thing, perhaps we could see if we can get permission to maybe do a showing of it at the district there to show folks how all these things kind of intertwine. The water, the sewer, the maintenance, the plant, everything kind of goes hand in hand. And you made mention about how sophisticated our operations are. Whether you're a big district or small districts, the compliance rules are the same for everybody.
Yes.
So you can't say I only have one pump, or you have one pump for 10,000 pumps, one well or 10,000 wells. The rules are all applicable. So, Steve, see if we can maybe find that Hell, No Water, and let's see maybe at some point maybe get into where we could do a showing at the district up there in the boardroom to share with the community.
I'll look for it.
So, yeah. Okay, so with that, so John, you're up next, sir. What do you got for us?
You know what? I have nothing to report today.
Okay, so before I'm sorry, John Cole, our legal counsel. I'm sorry, should we bypass? Do you have anything to report there?
No apology necessary. Nothing to report.
Okay, thank you kindly. Okay, with that said, if no one else has anything, can I get a motion for an adjournment?
So moved, Byron.
Okay, we have a motion by Vice President Glennon. Can I get a second?
Second, Director Wood.
Okay, I got a motion by Vice President Glennon and a second by Director Wood. Can I get a roll call?
Webb.
Yes, sir.
Vice President Byron Glennon. Yes. Director Ben Stewart.
Yes.
Director Alfred Wallace. Yes. Director Greg Wood.
Was that 5-0, Steve? Hello? Oh.
Somebody muted. Who's pushing a button? Yeah, that's 5-0.
5-0 for adjournment at 6:56 p.m. Good night, everyone.